What's up, everyone? It's Christopher Szabo, and I'm here with Kamazats. Where is Ron?
Coming, hopefully.
Probably still playing.
Don't starve.
For sure.
Yeah, hold on.
Anyway, so let's watch this video.
Yeah, I gotta get. I want to make sure that we are in fact up and running here. There's Ron. It's not showing that we're live right now on my channel. Oh, wait, hold on, are we? Oh, yeah, we are. Excellent. Okay, cool. I'll pop out the chat. There's nothing more awkward than having to pay for vodka. Well. Hey, howdy. All right, we are all here. You all right?
Get off. Yeah, fine. Just weird spectral intruder. Happens from time to time. One of the things about living in a basement. Well, that happens to everyone who lives in a basement. It's a well-known fact.
All right, so let's watch this video. I just want to double check one more thing because I don't like that echo.
I don't hear an echo. Although your mic sounds kind of funny.
Yeah. Because it's coming, it's okay there. That should be better. Do I sound better now?
You sound fine.
You sound a little better, yeah.
Son of a bitch.
What's wrong?
Microphone Logitech.
Done. There. That should be fine.
There we go.
Okay, excellent.
That is significantly better, yes.
That's exactly what we were looking for.
It was pulling my audio from my camera that was across the fucking room. All right.
All right.
Now, let's educate ourselves here.
All right. No sound.
Hold up. Fucking A, hold up. Why do I have to be a boomer? All right, hold up.
I blame society.
This is, yes. Share screen. This one. This one.
No sound.
Can you hear it? You got sound?
Nope.
You need to be on Google for it to have sound.
Yeah, I put it on Google.
No, I mean you need to be on Google Chrome for it to have sound.
Yeah, no, I have StreamYard open up in Google Chrome right now.
Okay.
Hold up. Stop screen share. I probably have to do a new instance of it real quick. Can we hear it?
Nope.
Nope.
Why is it not working?
I don't know. Hold up. See, I often wonder if it's because it has to deal with like the fucking
Oh, I found
YouTube
some
bullshit.
spiders.
Maybe if you send the link to me, I can play it. I can do it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do
Send the
that.
link to me.
All
Here.
right, I'm putting it into the private chat here.
Okay. Here, I'll do it. Okay. Here. Okay.
How do I harvest stuff from spiders? Do I have to kill them?
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to kill spiders. Spiders are friends.
You can always destroy the nest. They shouldn't go aggro on you if you destroy the nest.
Oh, but then there won't be any more spiders.
But you can make another one, I think.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay, yeah,
Welcome
I can hear
to
it.
Okay, I heard that.
Arlington, Virginia. On Tuesday, as protests in Lebanon intensified,
Can you put it into theater mode?
Prime Minister Hariri
Into what?
Theater
Theater
mode?
mode.
It's
Theater
the
mode? Sure.
told the media that Hariri intends to resign this week. On that same day, protesters
nope, I think you full screened it.
chain across the country, whereupon Hariri tendered his resignation immediately that afternoon. As news of Hariri's resignation hit the streets, protesters responded as follows.
We are a group of people, a spontaneous and peaceful movement, and the government has come and proved that no one can stand in front of the as what will happen.
All we have is a black screen.
We want a transitional government, and we want
You have a
specialists and
black
knowledgeable.
screen?
Yeah.
What do you-
Chat. Let's see here. Chat, what do you see anything?
Why do you have a black screen?
No, like for your I can see us, but the middle section. I guess just put it back to the regular way.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. StreamYard.
Will we never know what happened in Lebanon?
Stay tuned to
Okay,
find
we're
out.
gonna start the video over, okay?
All right, that's fine. Let's fucking do
Welcome
this.
to the Real News Network. I'm Greg Wilpert in Arlington, Virginia.
All right.
Tuesday,
Hi, Greg.
protests in Lebanon intensified. Sources close to Lebanese Prime Minister Hariri told the media that Hariri intends to resign this week. On that same day, protesters in Lebanon created a human chain across the country, whereupon Hariri tendered his resignation immediately that afternoon. As news of Hariri's resignation hit the streets, protesters responded as follows.
We
are a group of people, a spontaneous and peaceful movement, and the government has come and proved that no one can stand in front of the people's will, as what will happen after. The ball is in their court, we know what we want, and we want a transitional government, and we want specialists and knowledgeable people that can take over. Most importantly, the monetary file. And after that, we can have early parliamentary elections so that we can change things step by step.
The protests
Right.
in Lebanon
So
aren't,
pause it.
but the country
Okay.
is experiencing
Okay, what's up?
So that's fucking awesome. The fact that they got that the reason why they're still protesting is because they want the people to take charge. Like they don't want just any fucking dude or person getting into power that's just going to keep the status quo going. Like they actually want substantial change. So they're actually taking steps with insofar as like having like true systemic alterations. So that's something that we need to that's definitely something that we can learn from. The fact that they were able to get their prime minister to resign, people are still banded together and they're holding a line, literally forming like a human chain throughout the city. That's what's up.
Absolutely.
is what's
like
up.
that's fascinating that they're able to have that much class consciousness amongst each other, you know?
You wanna can you restart it? Or not restart it, but can you start it up again?
a political transformation of tremendous proportions, and there seems to be no turning back. Joining
you have to hit share screen.
transformation is some.
What?
You have to hit share screen. You're not sharing the screen at the moment.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
You're okay.
You're just like everyone else, expecting it just to, work.
Hadid from Beirut. She's a campaigner, advocate, and writer, as well as a commentator on human rights and humanitarian issues in the Middle East and Africa. Thanks for joining us today, Sama.
Good to be with you.
So when we covered the protests last week, it looked like Hezbollah supporters were part of the protests. And there were protests deep in Hezbollah territory, actually, in Sur or Tyre. And then there was a big fight where Hezbollah supporters apparently attacked the protesters, and Hezbollah chairman Hassan Nasrallah pulled his supporters from the protests. How do you explain the sudden change in Hezbollah's position with regard to the protests?
Well, firstly, what's so unprecedented and remarkable about this protest movement is the way in which it has cut across different sectarian lines. It has brought together classes, religious groups, the north to the south, and people have, for the first time, come together, united in their demand to revolt against the political elite and the political class, which they see as largely corrupt, exploitative, and really blocking change in Lebanon. And so we saw for the first time people chanting against their own leaders, and that has included leaders across the entire political spectrum, from the Hariri supporters right through to Hezbollah and Amal supporters. We're seeing really fear being broken and this barrier of fear being lifted now, and people being free to speak out against these leaders. The pressure, of course, has started to bite, and we're seeing this in the responses from political parties such as Hezbollah and Amal, where they have sent out their supporters, presumably sent out their supporters to attack the protest movement and protesters on the streets in the south, but also in the capital of Beirut. But people remain undeterred. If anything, the response has been to take to the streets in larger numbers. Whenever the protest movement is attacked by the political elite and their supporters, protesters have been really determined to hold their ground and continue their demands for the entire government, and the entire economic system and political system to be overhauled.
So you referred to the system, that this is a protest against the political system in Lebanon, but it's one that basically is not an authoritarian dictatorship like in some other countries. And when protesters shouted, "The people want to overthrow the regime," which is a direct quote from the 2011 Arab Spring, they apparently didn't just mean to get rid of Prime Minister Assad Hariri. So what is this sectarian system, and why do people want to get rid of it so badly?
What's abundantly clear throughout the country, wherever I've traveled, particularly in the north, but also in Beirut and what we're seeing in the south, is that people don't want to just get rid of one leader. They want the entire political class to be replaced by a new generation of leaders who would put the national interests before their own self-interests. For decades now, Lebanon has been ruled through a sect-based power sharing system where votes are allocated along religious communities and sectarian groups. But protesters now are fed up, frankly, with this system and are calling for a new electoral system that is fair, it's modern and secular. And with the resignation of Prime Minister Hariri, what we're hoping for now is a transitional arrangement where possibly technocrats and politically independent experts could form a transitional government that is able to address the financial and economic crisis that was looming before the protests took place. that is able to address public services and address the mismanagement that has been in place for decades now in the country. And so with this, hopefully this new transitional arrangement, a new law and policies can be put in place that would then lead the way to new elections.
I just want to turn briefly to the international dimension of what's going on. That is, many international actors such as the state of Israel, Russia, Syria, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and US all have a stake in the Lebanese sectarian system that we were just talking about. But so far, there's no evidence of foreign intervention in the protests or in their repression, it seems. Do you expect, though, that Israel or Syria or some other country might get involved to keep Lebanon from becoming more democratic?
Well, Lebanon for years now has faced foreign interference, be it from Iran, Saudi Arabia, the US, the EU. It really has been a game of chess for regional forces and international governments to play with. But the protesters and the protest movement is clearly calling for rejection of foreign interference. This is a local and organic movement that is aimed at creating an independent Lebanese identity, and one that can create policies and identity for this country that is locally based and is one that is carried by civil society and the grassroots here. I think the international community, in terms of Western governments being very cautious now. As of yet, they've backed the previous existing government, but that could change with the resignation of the Prime Minister Hariri. We saw today that the Iranian regime are warning against chaos if these protests continue. So there are threats from international actors and regional forces. But the protest movement is very...
So I don't understand. Oh, well, never mind. It's not that I don't understand. But so while this was going on, I was looking at how other sites are reporting on this, and they are definitely making it appear that these protests are in fact violent, that they that this is like this is just basically civil unrest, and it's absolutely absurd. If there are going to be outside interests coming into Lebanon, they're only going to be coming into Lebanon to quell the proletarian uprising that wants a more egalitarian system in place.
I mean, this specific report is probably the most fair report that I've ever seen. They're this one has actually reported how the protests are non-violent essentially. Which is I've never seen any news outlets say that protests were non-violent ever. So that's ridiculous.
I mean, I suppose it depends on how you define violence. If you define violence, for example, as being any grievance against the state, then the protests are violent because they're aggrieving the state. But I'm an anarchist, and I kind of define violence literally the opposite of from that.
Well, I mean, okay, if we can just steel man between the three of us what we consider violence, I basically consider violent. What I consider violence is anything that can get me locked up. Anything that can because here's the thing, if we only think of violence as being a destructive action or something someone getting hurt or a building being destroyed or something like that, that limits our ability to discuss any nuance, in my opinion. especially when we're trying to defend ourselves, especially when we're talking about considering, once again, how the state defines violence is different than how everyone else does, because everyone else will say that it's like destruction of something, harm to another, harm to something, like whatever. But the way that state defines violence is something along the lines of like standing at your cash register at work during a slowdown, locking yourself to the doors so scabs can't come in. You know what I mean? Like sitting down at your work, like impeding violence, like, you know what I mean? Like all those are forms of or like wheat pasting, anti-Amazon propaganda, you know what I'm saying, across from an Amazon distribution plant or something like that. Like these are all instances of quote unquote violence set by the state. So like as far as I'm concerned, like if that's how the state's going to define violence, that's how I'm going to define violence whenever I'm arguing about it with people who want to sit there and be like, well, milkshakes are violent, and like all this shit, and it's just like, okay, but everything is basically violent as long as it's
milkshake.
I don't know. Everybody has different takes than that. Feel free to disagree. It's totally fine. We all.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, like, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, typically speaking, the way I see violence. The way I personally see violence, though, is, I mean, I typically see violence as just like somebody who inflicts harm onto another person. But I mean, in the context that you put it, it makes the most sense to me because I mean that's basically how the state sees violence. So
yeah, right here, like what River Ransom said. At a philosophical level, language is violence. Pacifism in this day and age, with the information we have available, is violence. And these are the things that the system will use against us. I mean, look at Theory Plebe. Theory Plebe is a great example. You know what I'm saying? YouTube just basically decided to completely deplatform him, not demonetize him, not to monetize them, not to, whatever them. They got taken off of the platform for wanting to enable effective effective communication, like for people who were talking against Bernie. So people who weren't like basically anybody that would come into a chat during a live stream on YouTube, and they would start, they were like super Warren supporters or Biden supporters or what have you, they had made instantly like basically every counter argument to any dialogue tree that they could have. And basic, like, sure, it looked like spam, but I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't like they were trying to call to action like violence against a certain group of people. It wasn't like they were, like Theory Plebe has never talked about, the capital R, like I have, like Szabo has, like, Redguard has, they have kept it, basically academic in regards to discussing how they perceive the struggle to be. And, they were stopped. And, in the same way where you're talking about how like language is violence, that is, just that alone like is a great example of like how a system can retaliate against you for what they deem as being a violent action. Even though Steven Crowder can go on and say what he wants to say, or Ben Shapiro can go on and say what he wants to say, but
right,
yeah. So I think once we confine ourselves, in my opinion, like I said, feel free to disagree, but in my opinion, if we box ourselves in that violence is only like destruction or harm of individual or an object or of infrastructure of some sort, then we limit ourselves from being able to talk about our actual actions as far as defending them. So, but yeah, so like going back to what these protesters are doing, I guess, as far as like how foreign countries are that would have like an interest in like quelling these protests, the violence is against the status quo. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, it's the same thing that's going on. Like, what's going on in Lebanon is the same thing that's going on in Chile. What's going on in Chile is the same thing that's sparking in Colombia. And what's going on in like all these the same thing that's going on in Haiti right now.
They're basically replacing their prime minister or president, and they're replacing it with the transitionary government. You know, that's what they're all doing.
Yeah. And like and there's little to no like discussion of this on the mainstream like in the United States media. Like the Western media can like not focus like in my opinion, like this is crazy to me. Like why like so many people are left out of like talking about how Western European countries, the United States, like the North, like Northern America, we are literally being surrounded on all sides by proletarian uprising, and you hear basically nothing of it. And any news that we do hear of it, these are violent actions. When it's just people trying to have a better life for themselves.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
This is fucking wild. Like I can't like. In my opinion, like this, like there should be. So I don't know. Like, how can we like get like more support?
Well, let me tell you this much: you're not gonna convince mainstream media to cover the recent uprisings in a fair and accurate way.
No, not until they turned violent.
Yeah, and I mean, and like I wouldn't expect them to, but like I'm saying, like us as like people who, as individuals who have a platform, what steps can we take to at least bring what's going on up into like the zeitgeist of BreadTube? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we get people to stop talking about nonsense, and not necessarily nonsense. Like I understand that the bullshit that people with a platform and who abuse it and like all this shit, I get it, but like once again, we like in my opinion, this is fucking wild. Like the Caribbean right now is rioting, protesting to push out the neoliberal agenda. Same thing with almost all of South America right now, excluding Brazil. Even though Brazil is not like what's going on in Brazil is actually pretty crazy right now too. You have like the EZLN is like the Zapatistas have just expanded their territory. Like they like you think about that. A leftist group, like a leftist, essentially a leftist state, has gained ground in 2019, and it's like and like we are focusing on
ContraPoints said a naughty word or something. Yeah.
like what the fuck? Like it's like how do we steer the narrative within our own space? I'm not talking about CNN. I'm not talking about MSNBC, Fox News, whatever the fuck. I'm talking about.
So I have a counterintuitive idea.
What up, homie?
What's up, Ron? What's your idea?
So, like, you brought up ContraPoints, right? Well, I mentioned earlier that I have invited myself more or less to a debate, maybe at some point
against Smo, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the idea I had was that he's going to be talking about cancel culture and why it doesn't exist. I'm going to be talking about why it does. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak in exactly the thing that you're talking about. That's one of the reasons you talk about, oh, hey, no one's talking about this in the mainstream media as though it's an accident. It's not. That's not an accident.
No, and I understand that. And once again, that's
So
not what
we
I'm
basically have to force the point.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm planning on doing, is forcing the point.
Fucking A, man. Good. I'm glad. I mean, honestly,
I will tell him specifically, oh, hey, there are revolutions all around the fucking world, and all you people are talking about is fucking ContraPoints. And if he says, well, yeah, man, no, that's my point, I will tell him, no, that's my point. You're talking about shit the US is doing. Both are distractions. These are both parts of the same problem, and that you can't see that is exactly what they want.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. Anything that has to do with like the entire bread team sphere is a distraction.
And it's so fucking it's seriously homies, like this is like it's so disheartening when I see like people like Theory Plebe who are working hard to like with their copy pasta agitprop thing on Twitch right now. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar like with what they're doing or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with what they've been doing.
So they're literally making like they're compiling like memes and like discussion threads and just like everything, and they're compiling together like a kit that can be used by everybody during like the election cycle, like when it comes time to decide, for like, who to vote for Bernie or whatever. So basically we can attempt to meme Bernie into office.
Nah, that's an awesome idea.
For lack of a better thing, like that's what they're working on. Okay. And they're looking at making it like so simple that everybody who's participating, everybody who's engaged within our space, like our followers, content creators, what have you, they're making a genuine effort to do some shit. Right. And that all that hard work, like everything that they've been doing for the last 11 days or whatever, is like what, like if we can't bring ourselves to even talk about the achievements that the working class is doing in real time and the efforts that are being made within our own, like within the Western countries, you know what I'm saying? Like how can we expect to even like call ourselves, revolutionaries? How can we even like face our the people that follow us, the people that listen to us, that come to that like, jump from content creator to content creator to become educated on, for formulating their own points and everything like that. Like, how can we continue to put out content when we're so tied up in like with Peter Coffin's bullshit about the vampire castle, with fucking ContraPoints' drama with that. I mean, I heard there's drama going on with Sean. Like there's like with all this like celebrity fucking TMZ nonsense. Like how can we sit here and talk about, wanting this true systemic change when we're letting everything, like any hard work that's being done by somebody, fall through the fucking cracks? And I'm not talking about like Theory Plea. I'm talking about the hard work that's being done by the masses that are overthrowing their government right now. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
I do too. Yes. I see people like on my own server who are like trying to create like a worker co-op, and I mean, like they can't even get it off the ground because they don't have the resources necessary to get it started, you know? And like, and it's like, there's people like non-compete who could be, educating people on how to create a worker co-op,
And yeah, honestly, like I see, and like that's something else, right? Like I understand that
and I respect non-compete too.
No, and same with me. Like they're like he's one of like the select few who I implicitly trust their convictions. You know what I'm saying? It's like for being on this platform, you know what I mean? There's not a whole lot that I do, but him and Luna are ones that I traditionally do. One problem is, he's not necessarily 100. He's not in the United States, right? Like, so, him being in Vietnam, he gets a different worldview. He just gets news funneled to him, whatever. But he still does a good job. But, talking with him beforehand, he's even admitted that because he's so far removed, it disables him making like good real-time content in regards to like big issues. Okay. And then what's another thing that he's complained about? Not necessarily that he's complained about, although I'm sure he's cognizant of it, but being a slave, like replacing being a wage slave with being a slave to the algorithm, right? Like they're still struggling to come back after they're still struggling to come back after their week-long hiatus. You know what I'm saying? Like they like that's the danger of making this your actual bread and butter, like your actual income, when you aren't doing something theatrical, when you are actually trying to talk about the capital R. You know what I'm saying? Like and I mean the revolution in the major sense. You know what I'm saying? Individuals who actually put out like forthwith videos, whole series on systemic change. That's you're doing that, and at the same time you're running on marginal gains as far as like when you have to worry about how you're going to feed yourself. So it kind of sucks.
It absolutely sucks.
It really fucking sucks because on the one hand, like you want to you have to be able, like you want to be able to keep putting out content that's educating people and agitating people and getting them organized. Like I said, like he's one of the he's like in like you guys are in that group too, like as far as like getting people to getting your subscribers, getting the people who pay attention to you to getting a certain extent.
I'm trying to sleep. Can you lower your voice a little bit? I'm trying to sleep.
Okay.
So it's Colton. Thank you.
Sorry, am I talking too loud? I didn't realize this. Am I coming through your speakers?
No, I gotta go.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry about that.
It's all right. I'll stick around.
All right. Take it easy, Szabo. I will probably be on tomorrow. Have a good night.
Take care.
But yeah, like I mean, it's just really frustrating. Like I don't know. I really hope honestly, like I really hope that we are able to be successful with what we're trying to do with ColorTube. Being able to work with on the ground organizations, setting up security funds, trying to establish something to be able to sustain a group of people as much as we can so that change can happen. Because there's no reason why, with what's going on all around us, why it should be on the burden of your shoulders, Ron, tomorrow or whenever you're doing the thing with Smo, to like sit there and try to be like, okay, we're going to talk about this, but then also let me tell you about the 15 different proletarian insurrections that are going on across the world. Like,
I mean, the
let's
thing
just
is, from
shoehorn
my
this
perspective, I'm an unusually strong man from a family of unusually strong people. That means most difficult things in this world fall upon my shoulders. At least that's what I was taught.
More power to you, homie. Fucking strength. Hold on, I want to acknowledge this. So, doesn't BreadTube serve the purpose of propaganda to a degree? Yeah, it absolutely does. But the problem with that is that when that propaganda is halted to talk about drama within the left, it's not doing its purpose anymore, right?
It absolutely is not.
Let's see here. Yeah, it's the big leagues. There's a reason why so many countries have whole battalions of memers and goons in their militaries. Yeah. Honestly, like I really hope that we can reach more individuals. Because to me it's just fucking wild. There's every time Black Red Guard comes out and puts out a video, not a video, he's just been doing live streams lately, but every time he does a live stream where he's talking about this shit, where like he'll come on and he'll be like, this is happening, y'all aren't talking about it, and he pretty much lays it out because he says it's not happening to white people, right? That's the extent of how he frames it, and it's kind of hard to refute that.
No, that's absolutely what it is.
Like, it's really hard to refute that because it's just like, look what we're talking about. We're talking about all the white people within the Democratic Party, and we're talking about the white people that are getting into drama within the leftist space that we all occupy. But meanwhile, in the global South, in the Middle East and in Africa, there's all these things happening, and we can't tear ourselves away to fucking discuss these things amongst us to signal boost these issues. We're too busy talking about destiny. We're too busy talking about ContraPoints. We're too busy talking about Peter Coffin. We're too busy like circling around the same fucking issues that are not important to what we initially to what our initial mission statements were.
I don't know. I gave my answer before. You forced the issue.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, I understand. You're frustrated. You should be frustrated.
I don't know.
It is appropriate to be frustrated with the state of events, with the state of things in the world.
Hold up. I'm talking.
But, like,
well, homie, if you want to go, you can take off. You don't need to stick around if you're tired.
I'm not tired. I'm still playing this game. It is fascinating.
Oh shit, Lottie Blix is coming on. Or might come on. Let's see.
Nice.
I love them. Holy shit, they messaged me a long time ago.
Is a rock den something that I should avoid?
A what?
A rock den.
A rock den?
Yes.
I don't know. That sounds like something new. I haven't.
Spider decoration. Neat.
Are you still playing as Spider Boy?
Yes.
Honestly, that's another reason why why I've been on Twitch so much is I'm trying to get rated by the serfs or by somebody just so that I can get you know uh just so I can get some more
just so you can get some
eyeballs.
attention. Yeah.
Yeah, because like, just so I can talk about this to a larger stream of people, just so I can, you know, oh shit. Daylight savings time. Fuck yeah. More sleep. Sort of.
Sleep is for the weak.
Yeah, right. You're gonna be up playing that game.
You say that like a joke, but yes.
No, I mean it's definitely a
I'm at least going to master the basics.
yeah, it's pretty fun. Especially when you have more people. Let's see here. Yeah, there's like what time is it? 1 o'clock. Well, it's technically 2 o'clock. I think I'm gonna call it because we've been streaming basically now for 4 hours technically.
Really?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Because it was 3 hours when I cut it out on the last one, and now we're at 40. It was 3 hours and 40 something minutes when I stopped the last one, and now we're at 47 minutes again. So we almost added on like a whole nother hour and a half.
Alrighty.
Which is fine because I mean, hey, content. All content is good.
I mean, I don't know that I would say all content is good.
Well,
have you seen Andy Worski ever?
No, I don't know who that is.
I regret mentioning Andy Worski is a guy who had a bunch of white nationalists on his show, like frequently.
Oh.
You know blood sports? Andy Worski inadvertently invented the blood sports.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. Are you talking about like the shitty debates or whatever?
Yes, I'm talking about the shitty debates.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not fun. I kind of do my best not to really support any of those channels with clicks. That's one of the reasons why I kind of watch content creators that do. However, I've been trying lately not to watch every video that lefty content creators farm off of alt-right content creators. It's a very fine line.
I understand.
So, all right. As always, comrades, adios and solidarity por vida. Ron, did you want to plug your stuff for I think everybody in chat already knows, but if you want to plug your stuff to some people who might not know.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel called The Rugged Midwesterner. I talk about leftist stuff there. If you're interested in leftist content, go check it out. Maybe. I didn't make any scripted videos last month. I actually need to make an update video about what I'm going to do this month, but I have been working on things. It's just that my life has been a bit hectic as of late.
Yeah, you've had family stuff happen.
Yeah,
I feel like this whole month for everyone has been family drama, or not necessarily drama, but family issues. But yeah, unfortunately, because this is YouTube, I cannot close this session out with a music video, so we're just gonna have to cut it dry. Yeah, buenos noches.
Take care.